Hi, good evening. Steve Adler. Got a minute? Because tonight we're going to go over the numbers, not complete. We're going to go over a lot of charts, and we're going to even have some numbers from early vote date. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a look at the first dashboard. The first dashboard we have tonight, look at the numbers on the left, hospitalizations. Don't look at the numbers on the right. Those are the case numbers. They're the same as the case numbers were yesterday. We got a big dump and maybe some double counting. We're not real sure, but the numbers we had were really high. But it looks like there's an aberration to that. So we're not using those numbers until we can figure out what they are. Yesterday's numbers might need adjustment too. We'll see. But over on the left-hand side, the yellow number, 16 hospitalizations. That number continues to go up. Yesterday it was 10. The day before that it was 13. The 7-day moving average is at 14. We got as low as 12, bump up to 15. We're kind of in that area. Just could not get it below the 12 to get down to 10 where we could move into that next risk area. We need people to wear masks. We need people to social distance. As I go outside, I'm beginning to feel that maybe in some places we're losing that discipline a little bit. But you can see basically flat. But look at the green numbers. The 7-day moving averages for hospitals, 85, ICUs, 29, on ventilators, 19. Let's see what it is actually for tonight. So let's go to the second page. Number of people in the hospitals tonight, 90. That's that green number that is now up on the screen. That is above our 7-day moving average of 85. People in the intensive care units tonight, 31, which is above our 7-day moving average of 29. Number of people on ventilators, 21, above our 7-day moving average of 19. Seems like the last several days, many days, last week or so, those numbers have been trending upwards. We're still at a place where the information and data we're getting is a little bit ambiguous, but the feel I get is not too dissimilar to the very, very beginnings of the stuff back in May. Different place now, people more vigilant about wearing masking, but still, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the UT dashboard. The UT dashboard is the model that they have, that we've been looking at the numbers. Remember those three numbers at the top. This is the number, this is the chart that's in the middle of the dashboard that the city of Austin does. You can see, it has the actual numbers in the dots and the line in green. And this was, I think, through October 8th, maybe a little after that. You can see the green line extends to the right, kind of flat, which is where we are. We have more lines that are going up, the gray lines. That means more variables and more possibilities going up, even if the mean is relatively flat. The number that concerns me on this is the reproduction number in the upper left-hand corner. Remember, if we stay below 1, that means the virus is falling off. Above 1, that means it's increasing. The number of 1.15 is high. We were getting as low as 0.6, 0.7 in that range. Now the modelers seeing 1.15. But the range below that number is also troubling to me. The range used to be from like 0.5 to 1.2, 1.3, that kind of thing. Now our range is 0.61 to 2.22. That's a concerning number. The chances that the epidemic is growing is the middle number, 66% chance. The modelers tell us that the epidemic is now growing in our city with 8 more percent higher infections than we had 2 weeks ago. Let's take a look at some other numbers because, like I say, we look at all these numbers and some of them, we're kind of in an ambiguous place. But let's look here at Dr. Escott's numbers that he gave to us. This is the total number of confirmed cases. Disappeared. There it is. Total number of confirmed cases doesn't have the number from tonight because we know we're not using that number. But as of yesterday, you can see that generally speaking, we had gone down, then we went up, we came down. Look at the blue lines. If anything, if I look at those blue lines, which are the daily numbers, look like it's maybe coming up, which is why the yellow 7-day moving average may be ticking up, but mostly flat. Let's look at the next slide. This is number of new admissions. Again, you look at the right, mostly flat. You can see the peak we had in the summer. Mostly flat, maybe up just a little bit, kind of 3 stair steps up on admissions. That's a little bit of a concern. We have to watch that number. Let's go to the next chart. This is a chart that tells us the number percent of hospitalizations by race and ethnicity. The green line at the top is the Hispanic Latino population. You can see that it was down about 5 weeks ago. It's been stair-stepping up. This past week, it comes back down. This past week, the most recent number on there, you can't see the numbers. They're way too tiny, is 50%, 50.0. The one just to the left a week ago, 52.7. So you can see that it came down. African American population is the third line down. That's the kind of I don't know if that's brown or purple, whatever that color is. But importance for us 2 weeks ago or the week before this one, the percent of hospitalizations that were African American, 7.5%. But you can see that number now has gone up to 12.5%, kind of erasing the progress that we thought we were seeing. So we continue to watch those numbers. Let's go on to the next chart. This is percent positivity in our community by weeks. It takes us to week number 40, which is actually not this week, but the week before that. We were headed down 6.4, 5.4, 4.4, but the last 2 weeks, 4.0, 4.0, so we've been flat. Our goal when we were up above 10 was to get down to below 5. But we really want to get down below 3. There are cities in the United States that got their numbers down lower than we did, where their positivity numbers were 1%-ish. And in those cities, if they get above 3 in terms of positivity, they start pulling back on the openings of businesses, which they've started doing in some cities on the East Coast. But that just shows to tell you that we're aiming for 5, but want to get below 3. 3 is too high in some of those other cities. But you can see it's leveled off at 4.0. Let's take a look at positivity by subset. This is positivity by race and ethnicity. This also has week 41, which is the week kind of that's ending right now. Those numbers are not complete. That's why we didn't have week 41 on the last chart. So this number is subject to change. But you can see that positivity in Hispanic Latino community, which is that gold line, continues to work its way down, trying to get below 5%. Black or African American, the number now is just above 5%. That's that increase that I said we're now noticing, which is troubling. The others are down below the 3% line, which is really the line that we ultimately want to get to. That red dotted line is at 5%. We probably should show 3% on this chart as well. Let's take a look at ages so you can see how that's breaking out. That gold line are people 10 to 19. You can see how that was going down. And now the indications are 10 to 19s going up. That's students. Most of those in extracurricular activities, cheerleading, band, weight training, that kind of stuff. Giving each other the virus. I tell people that if you have anybody in your household that is susceptible or vulnerable, everybody in the household should be treating themselves as if they were. You should have to be concerned about taking something like this home and getting somebody sick that is not that young and isn't going to bounce back the same way. You can see the other age groups numbers generally heading downward based on age. It's that one age that really is popping. Okay. I think that I want to show you this one. We now have a dashboard for the flu. That's just the regular flu. I wanted you to know we're starting to keep track of it now. Just beginning to have positive flu tests. It's real early in the season. If you haven't gotten your flu shot yet, please go get your flu shot. Even if it's not something that you usually do, now's the time to do it. As we talked about last year, ICU's filled up just with flu. Not going to spread as much this year because we're wearing masks, but everybody should be doing their part to keep us out. Anyhow, so those are the flu tests that we've been taking a look at. So, in conclusion, some kind of an ambiguous area. We're still watching schools with the AISD just opening this past week and so here to see what happens. But as Dr. Escott pointed out today, 66% chance that the pandemic is worsening. The UT modelers told Dr. Escott that we could experience an 87% increase in admissions and a 55% increase in hospital bed use, 64% increase in ICU bed utilization by November 1st. All right, so that's something that the model is showing us now. We have to be really careful. People need to be vigilant. This virus is still with us, and we need to treat it that way. Hey, I had the Campo meeting today. Campo, actually yesterday. Campo is the Central Texas Transportation Mobility organization that does planning. It's a metropolitan planning organization that does the highway work. It gets a lot of the federal funding to do a lot of the projects. 183, I-35, works with the RMA, the CT RMA. But in Campo, Texas, they showed us some slides today about commuting that I thought were pretty interesting. I want to show you two of them now. Certainly, they're relevant in the context of the conversation that we're having about Project Connect and Proposition A, which is something that I hope that everybody's going to be voting for. Most important thing we can be doing for traffic congestion, climate change mitigation, as well as mobility equity, preserving neighborhoods, communities in our city. This shows you commutes by race. Oops, it got small again. Maybe we can get that back to big again so that people can see it. There it is, commutes by race. You can see that the entire workforce is the bar graph to the left. The blue at the bottom is white alone, not Hispanic. The orange in the middle is Hispanic. The gray above that is the Black or African American. You can see that the public transportation, which is the middle one, we have a greater percentage of folks that are of color using public transportation than are using the workforce generally to the left. And of those that are able to work at home, you can see that the Anglo, the white population on that bar graph to the right is best able to take advantage of that opportunity, that privilege of being able to work from home. I want to show you one other slide that came from the Campo presentation so that you can see that. This is a slide that shows us trip purposes by vehicles. People are saying, hey, should we be voting for Proposition A, Project Connect, now that we have more people working at home? The question is, how many of the trips we have in our city are from people working at home? Well, there's an answer to the question. It is not the bar graph to the left. It's the bar graph second from the left. That shows you the total number of trips in the Campo area here in Central Texas that are work related, between 30 and 40,000, but the ones that are home related, over 70,000 trips. Shopping and errands is over 40,000 trips. more than the work number of cars. Hey, in case you didn't notice, today is the first day of early voting in Austin. Election day is November 3rd. Don't think about that as the day to vote. Think about that as the last possible day to vote. Early voting started today. Dana DeBevoise, our clerk, tells us that as of 6 o'clock tonight, we had 32,000 people that voted early today. The number will go higher as we get closer to 7 p.m. We also had a record number of people turn in their ballots today. I think that Dana told me that as of 4 o'clock today, they had over 7,000 ballots that were hand turned in today. That's 7,000 hand turned in plus, and that's more probably since that was a 4 o'clock number, plus the 32 gets us up to about 39,000 votes that were conveyed today. The record early vote first day, 36,000. In 2016 was the record number there. A day two was also in 2016 was 36,000. On the final day of early vote in 2016, the number was almost 43,000. 2018, the final day was like 40,000. So we're up in the airs of really high vote. We have our county, Travis, one of the highest votes ever in the state. We were leading the example. I got a text a little while ago from Mayor Turner in Houston. As of several hours ago, they had already passed their record for any day of early vote. They had passed that, he told me today, while there were still several hours of early voting still to go. This is a year everybody needs to vote, no matter what it takes, no matter how hard it is. Today, the Supreme Court upheld the president's desire to cut off census taking before the end of October. You know, the real import of not being able to count through the end of October is two. The first is the more time you have, the more chance you have of being able to count everybody, especially those homes that are hard to count. The other difference is that if you stop early, you have a better chance of being able to finalize the results and turn them in before the end of the year. And the president has indicated that when he canvasses the number and turns them in, it's his desire not to turn in the number of people that are undocumented in the community, in the country, and it's going to mean kind of an undercount of the people that are here. If we actually stayed longer for the count through the end of October, it's more likely that the numbers wouldn't be ready to be turned over to Congress until after the first of the year. And if there's a different president, probably a different canvas number gets turned in. There is those kinds of issues and those importance. Elections matter. Who gets elected gets to decide some of these questions. So I urge everybody, sign up for the census and vote. Both count. It's real important. Take the precious few days we have to both complete the sentence and to vote. With that, I wish everybody a safe time, good night, and take care.